of the property. Bingo, goal achieved.
Wow.
Okay? Yes,
I
sir.
can authenticate that firsthand. That happened to my parents. They were forced to hook up to the sewer. It cost them about $15,000 to $18,000, and they were going to condemn their property if they did not.
It's all part of this, guys. All part of it.
No.
Logging activity, harvesting timber. Wow, there's that spotted owl owl came in handy. Power line construction. Wow, we're shutting down energy. We're not growing jobs. Keystone Pipeline, power, same thing. Ski resorts and golf courses, I don't care about that. Fossil fuels, I don't have time to play. We got a country to save. Fossil fuels, hello? What's happening there? Fracking. Oh, it's horrible. Shutting down. Well, we got an Ireland girl coming over here to fight that for us. Agriculture equipment. Why? Well, if we got farm dust and we can't dig, what good is agriculture equipment? Pesticides, fertilizers. This kills me. My sister lives in Cumming, Georgia, and I look at the beautiful cows. I like cry. Because I'm like, oh my God, they're Endangered Species Act. I want to run out there in the field and hug them.
Oh my gosh.
I think I'm kidding. It is just tears me up. It's that moment for me. Before and after Agenda 21. Plowing of soil, there's your EPA, farm dust. Building of fences, your dams. We got 4 dams in New England. They're trying to not dam because our dams create water and power. The Hoover Dam will be one of them. I'm sure Niagara will be after it. Single family homes, there's your American Planning Association with your stack and pack. How many people, we have it in Jacksonville, there's this new thing right across my car dealership, being my client car dealership. And all of a sudden, this restaurant comes in and all these stores below, and then we've got condos up top with no parking and brick roads everywhere. And all the shops underneath are vacant. And people don't want to live above Jackie John's Subs and Three Forks Restaurant, and there's no parking and there's no storage and there's no garage, but we have inexpensive, believable brick pavers. That is the new planning. Well, it's stacking and packing. They want you to live and be able to walk where your shops are.
Right.
You can't drive because ethanol, if I didn't mention that to you, that not only the corn, it uses 1% or reduces 1% over foreign, but what it also does is, you men can validate this, it destroys your engine.
Yes. That's right.
And you won't be driving your car when that car that comes out that's 60 miles per gallon and people are buying $20,000 and $30,000 Honda Civics and Toyota Corollas and Camrys, all of a sudden that price point is going to go to 45, 50, 60,000 starting point. And they're like me. I said, well, then fine. I won't buy a new car, and I'll drive the car I have until my wheels fall off of it. And the guy looks at me and says, no, ma'am, you won't, because that ethanol you're putting in it is eating your engine inside out. By design. Because it's not to reduce our dependency on foreign oil, or would they not open the Keystone? Would they not give BP the drilling? Would they not open the Bakken and the Anwar reserves? You know, what the heck is going on?
Makes too much sense.
Insanity is what I call it.
Exactly. Industry, any industry. There's your government-controlled monopolies, your private property, we went over that. Population growth, yeah, there's your immunizations, your vaccines, your GMOs, your health care. I mean, come on, guys. Food famine. Okay, there's a great book. Walked into the Christian bookstore, and it's small. I call it a bathroom book, you know. How do you kill 11 million people? How do you kill them? Well, that's the quickest way, but the way that the book says, you lie to them. When they, you know, people go, this can't be happening. Really, do you think if they do it, they'd be telling us? Did they tell the Jews when they loaded them up in the boxcars? Oh, you know, we're going to shove you in ovens and gas you. Come on in. Really? Oh, yeah, always utopia. Utopia. Homeschooling. Wonder why homeschooling. Government schools, stop calling them public schools, call them government schools. That's what I call them. By the way, I sourced this. This did not come out of my wildest dreams. It matches if you look at this. UN biodiversity. Okay. Just all right. Let's America. What could it look like in a UN world? America's image. It will reduce world population by 80 to 90%. How many people have heard of the Georgia Guidestones?
Oh, yeah.
Google it. It says world population will be 500,000.
Yeah.
So I'll put in everything you read is everything I talk to. All you got to go home is Google Georgia Guidestones. And I forget what little town it's in, but it's all there carved And it's Easton? Royston. It's supposed to replace like our 10 Commandments being in stone. That was the concept. Abolish private property rights in middle class. We've all discussed that. More than 50% of the land. Walkable cities. Travel restrictedly. This means abolishing autos, and they're doing it one way with ethanol.
Peachtree City is a perfect example of that right there.
Okay.
I mean, it's communities, walk, or golf course, or golf carts and walking.
That was Elberton.
Global ownership. Pardon me?
Elberton, Georgia.
Okay, yeah, there you go. Alberton. I knew it was something with an E. Global ownership of all resources. How many people know that Obama did through the UN that they own all bodies of water, including the little fishing lake pond on your property?
Yeah.
Go home and Google, government, UN owns all bodies of water. I'm not kidding. Do you know that we've got people in areas that they're taxing rainwater collection?
Yes.
Okay, that's a resource. Why are they taxing rainwater collection? Okay, the UN will have control of all food, fuel, bodies of water, and land. Okay, America's image. It should be on there. Animals will have more rights than humans. Remember the wackadoo? Oh, you think that's crazy? Well, Delta Smelt took a precedent. We almost had dolphins and whales go over our military protection. We have red snapper that are 25 pounds plus in our oceans, eating other species of fish. And we're not being able to catch it. If you go to the grocery store, you women, where's our seafood coming out of? China and Thailand. Hello? What happened to all this?
Yeah.
Sid Prescott told me they're trying, and it's in the action right now, they're only going to allow 4 commercial fishermen on the whole Atlantic coast of Florida for snapper. 4 commercial fishermen.
Wow.
This is devastating. Talk to any recreational commercial fisherman. Global economic policy and law. There'll be 2 classes, elite and serf. Complete government control over every part of our life if we're not seeing that right now. TSA in our underpants, come on.
Yeah.
Replace Judeo-Christian values with pantheism, worship of nature. Loss of national sovereignty. Okay, I love asking this question.
Yeah.
This is why Obama and Rick Perry, who's a globalist, Texas, is not protecting our borders. Do you know that we're putting Border Patrol in prison
Yes.
for handcuffing an illegal immigrant in his
Yeah.
back seat?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Do you know that Obama is suing Jan Brewer for protecting her state borders?
Yes.
Okay. How many people know that the UN is suing her?
No, for Pete's sake.
First, when I heard that, I knew what that was. It goes back to conditioning. The UN, go home and Google, UN sues Arizona for border security. They're saying under human rights. BS.
Don't use Google anymore, it'll track you.
But they're doing it to condition the UN coming in. Obama, if he was an American, which he is not, he's a Muslim domestic terrorist, and you've got me on record, I will say that my whole life, should say, back up, UN. We're the United States. That is a sovereign state. You have no business. But he didn't because he's conditioning bringing the UN in. We have this in our head that the UN isn't important. How many people know that in October of 2010, Hillary, and who gave her even authority to do this, signed the UN Small Arms Treaty?
Yes.
It's the day I went out and bought
Have
shotguns.
you really seen that anywhere? Because I have
Yeah.
tracked that like you. I've not been able to find a document where she signed it. I've been on the UN website. I've Googled it everywhere.
Well, I know for a fact she signed it, and Rand Paul is actively sending out
I
stuff.
hear people say it, but I've not seen
I
it.
saw it on the internet a couple of
You saw
days
the
ago.
document.
Huh?
Well, I don't even know if they post the
Well,
document.
I'm just. I'm
But I
kinda
know she
cynical by
signed it
nature,
because
but-
Rand Paul's the
yeah.
only senator trying to do something about it.
Yeah.
And he would not be doing something about it if she hadn't signed it. And he states that she signed it in more than one email.
Some of those minions do that too. But anyway.
Disarmed citizenry, that is the small arms. The UN control the military, as I said, Panetta and Jeff Sessions, that should answer that question right there. You think, oh, Agenda 21, is it in my backyard? Oh, well, I don't hear Agenda 21, so let me just run through some agencies, and you saw on the back of these maps. EPA, USDA, DERM, U.S. Forest Service, U.S. National Park Service, U.S. Fish and Wildlife. By the way, how many people have noticed that the wildlife people are carrying guns and being armed lately?
It's not to say them, is it?
No. It's not for a wild bear. Maybe this wild bear. NGOs, non-government organizations, what they do is they do the dirty work for the government. They usually come in, Sierra, Greenpeace, Nature Conservancy, Ducks Unlimited, Audubon Society, National Wildlife Federation. The government backs them through lobbyists to shut down things and uses them to do the dirty work. Vocabulary. Here's some of the words. Smart growth, sustainable development, visioning process,
Oh,
consensus. When you get a consensus, it's a predetermined consensus. So you would come into this room and I am the illustrator or orchestrator. I already know. And then I phrase the question so you answer it so I get the data that I need to do what I need to do. And you go out thinking you participated. You did not.
Yeah.
You answered the worded question. Urban sprawl, regional development, smart meters, smart grid. Anything smart is stupid in Agenda 21. Traffic calming. They're shutting down lanes in California to calm the traffic. What do you think it's doing to the other lanes?
Congestion, major.
Equity, stakeholder, private-public partnerships, new economy, global network, common good, social justice, sustainable medicine. Go home and Google that. That'll scare you. Collaborative, quality of life, invasive species, endangered species, conservation easements. How does Agenda 21 affect you? You know, you hear me say a lot of this stuff, and you look at it and you go, okay, yeah, that doesn't affect me. Let me tell you how it's coming in to your governments. It's coming in to our city and our state and our local governments as a grant. Now, let me run this by you. I got a nice Mercedes out there. It's a 2012, it's loaded. It's the 65 Mac Daddy series, about $120,000. And I'm gonna give it to you for 15 grand. First thing you're gonna ask me is it stolen? Does it have an engine? Was it a drug dealer's? I mean, you're gonna ask me a question. So how come the government comes in with $100 billion grant from the USDA, from the EPA, and your city councilmen, and your mayors, and your governors, and your state legislators, excuse me, your exception, you're not going to be part of this, are prostitutes.
Yeah.
They take the money,
Yeah.
and they never say, what do we have to do?
Yes.
They don't read the grants. And the grants say that you have to regulate, legislate, and zone
Yep.
your people out of their property and out of their rights.
Yep.
They're not reading the grants because they're too greedy to get the money. So our jobs is when you hear grant, your brain needs to go, danger, danger, Will Robinson. Okay? You need to start digging down. I have a whole sheet of what to ask them, what to say, what's it funding? Where's it come from? Now, by the way, are we not broke as a country? Where is the government getting $100 million? I just fought one and lost. Adam Putman, the state of Florida, from the USDA got $100 million, and he's from a farming family, to shut down 4 counties down here in the Everglades, and it's this area right here, for $100 million from the USDA.
Just print, Federal Reserve print for me.
Yeah. Got to start asking your people where they're getting the grants. Your historic districts, we have one in Brunswick, Georgia. They come in with historic districts, and all of a sudden, you can't do anything in your house. You can't paint it, you can't upgrade it, you can't do anything. You can't sell it because you can't upgrade it. If you can't sell it, what can you do with it? So what happens? You abandon the property. How many times have you been driving down the middle of the road in the middle of nowhere? This is a lot in Georgia. And out of nowhere, you see a brown sign that says Historic District. You're like, what happened? Lincoln, had lunch here? I mean, what happened here in the middle of a cornfield? I mean, this is all along 82 and 84 from Brunswick to Valdosta and Thomasville. It's because the county got some money. And then I can promise you nobody's living in that historic district. If they're living there now, ask them how miserable they are. That's just some of the examples. They do not read what they're doing. I'm not going to even bring up the point that they're bankrupt and they have no business giving any state, city, local, any government, any money from anything, period. Okay, the next thing I'm going to talk about is regionalism. This is very serious and it's happening right now. But first I found this the other night. It blew me away. I found it Googling something on a tangent and went, oh my Lord, it's amazing how things come to you. The slide says Soviet equals regionalism. Now I do know that regionalism came from the Soviet Union. But let me explain to you what this says. This is amazing. A Soviet, what does Soviet means? A Soviet is a system of councils that report to an apex council and implement a predetermined outcome, remember consensus, visionary process, affecting a region or neighborhood, often arranged through a process of facilitated consensus. Okay? Members of a Soviet council are chosen, you're going to love this, by virtue of their willingness to comply with the predetermined outcome and their one-mindedness of that group.
Wonderful.
Wow. Soviets are the operating mechanicism of a government-controlled economy, whether it be socialism or public-private partnerships. Wow.